Growing old is a gift, a privilege that allows us to experience moments of life from the thrilling to the mundane. Each step made by researchers towards improving existing treatments contributes to that privilege. Thanks to such efforts, it is possible to live decades after an HIV diagnosis. The human immunodeficiency virus develops into AIDS. Progress made by researchers has allowed us to slow down the development of this disease, allowing many people to live long, relatively normal lives. Researchers in the Berk Lab are contributing to the developments made towards these lives.
Every research that it's done need to go out there and try to reach people and change people's lives, because I think that's the final goal of all the research, the basic research that is done in an academic lab, is just to change something about the world or the environment.
Carolina Camargo, a PhD student in the Berk Lab, is looking at methods of inhibiting HIV. HIV's genetic material is called RNA. Reverse transcriptase, or RT, is a molecule that HIV uses to turn its genetic material, RNA, into human genetic material, DNA. Because of this change, HIV is able to integrate into human DNA and use our cells to make more copies of HIV. The Berk Lab has isolated a molecule called an aptamer, to which RT prefers to bind over HIV. Once this binding occurs, RT is no longer able to change HIV's RNA to DNA. The Berk Lab is working on the delivery of the aptamer to cells that HIV will infect. Although we have made a lot of progress, the World Health Organization has reported that 35.3 million people were living with HIV/AIDS worldwide in 2012, and that 1.6 million people died of AIDS-related illnesses that year. Researchers worldwide are looking into ways to decrease these numbers.
HIV seems to have jumped into the human population about 100 years ago. At that time, they didn't know that it was a retrovirus. That discovery came a few years later. Along about the mid-80s, the first treatments became available. Well, that was AZT. Although having a single drug available was much, much better than having no drug at all. After all, it gave patients hope. There was still a problem of the rapid evolution of resistance. So one of the major breakthroughs in HIV treatment was the development of a cocktail of multiple drugs, making it much more difficult for the virus to evolve resistance. That's essentially where we are now. There's been one patient who's been referred to as the Berlin patient. His name is Timothy Ray Brown, and he is the one person on the planet who has been functionally cured of the virus. We're trying to expand on that knowledge now, come up with new ways so that more than one person can benefit from that technology. So it is entirely possible to manage HIV infection long-term as a chronic disease. So it's just something you live with. I don't mean to trivialize it at all, but it is possible to continue to live a very normal life for decades after a diagnosis.
So we are here, right now, and in the promise that lies in research, we look forward to all having a chance to live, whether with HIV or without.